Hey guys, how's it going? It is Kire here with another Eversoul video, and in today's video I want to give you guys a few tips and tricks on when it comes to starting out this game, and little things that I didn't notice until a couple days later that hopefully you guys can know right off the bat and will make this early game experience a little easier for you. So first, the big thing is that button there, and then you have multiple banners here. So you have the pickup rate banner. This is very typical in these games where you have an extra percentage chance of being able to get this hero. I think be very careful with this, as I have summoned for this, but I've spent money on this. I'm just trying to test stuff out, so it's more of like do as I say, not what I do kind of thing, because I'm more of trying to mess with the game so I can give good advice versus actually making the smart decisions when it comes to my account, and let me be the idiot and then hopefully give you guys better advice that way. Then you have the normal summons. Nice thing about this is there's a pity at 30 where there's no pity at 30 here, whereas how you get stuff is through the stuff on the left. So you get a guaranteed character at 80 summons, which is pretty bad in my opinion when it comes to the pity here, but that is just how this works. And then way down the line, you get actual other guaranteed versions over here. And then if you look at the actual detailed rates, you can see that in the bottom corner. It shows it all here. And then how it normally works. And keep in mind that epics are what you want. That's like the legendary in this game. Normally they have like rare, epic, and then legendary. This game, the epics are the main characters of this. And it's all about getting a ton of copies versus, you know, finally getting that one character and you're done. So you need like 7 or 8 copies when you're fully finished. So if you're going to do this, keep in mind no actual like 30 pity here, and then at 80 you'll actually get that character. I think Mephistopheles, I believe that's how you pronounce her name. Her name is actually ridiculous. She's pretty good. She's like a solid support hero with a little extra damage on there. I'll probably do videos breaking down my thoughts on the characters later, but I really like her as a character, and a lot of people you'll see in runs using her because if you've been spinning, they probably have her really leveled up compared to other characters. So then normal summons here, I highly recommend. The best thing, do not spin this currency. You want to save this currency. I've been spinning it because I just want to summon, which is just don't do it. Don't do that. If you're ever going to do it, also keep in mind you're going to be getting a ton of these tickets here as you play the game. You get a ton of summons in this game. It's actually really cool. And when you hit 30, you're guaranteed an epic there. And then one thing, if you want to take a look at all the characters, these are the characters you actually have. If you click a character and click this button here, boom, you can see all the characters in the game. And keep in mind this legendary thing is just the rarity of like the level of the character, not the actual rarity of it. It's a little confusing there, but here's all of them. These two right here, these are the only angel and demon characters. They have special benefits that I will bring up later on their typing. But if we go back here on the actual character screen that I own, you'll see all these different types on the left here. It's one of those games where there's like a rock, paper, scissors meta on how like you get benefits, like human-like beats beast, whereas beast beats fairy, and fairy beats, you know, undead, for example. So you have human-like, you have beast, fairy, undead, and then you have these two here that I haven't pulled any of, where it's angel and demon. So those are like the super rare ones, very low percentage. You can check in those rates just how rare they are, but keep in mind that those are the typings of these characters. And then from there, there's going to be different types of characters, like you have caster, you have supporter, you have a warrior, a ranger, for example, so keep that in mind. And then also when it comes to team compositions, I figured we should just go into that. How you build your team based on the typing there gives you certain bonuses, and I believe you can just see that here. So you have, depending on soul type, up to 25% additional damage bonus. That's if you have all of the same type. Probably not necessarily going to be the thing you want to do all the time. I'm trying to find exactly where. So if you click on this, you can actually see all the potential bonuses here. And this also ties into what I was saying, you get extra benefits with a demon and an angel. So right now there's only one demon and there's only one angel. So the team of multiple demons doesn't apply yet at the time of this recording, but eventually there'll probably be more demons in the game. You can start pairing them up, and it looks like there's really good benefits here depending on how good those demon characters are, with, as you can see, 15 attack, crit rate, stuff like that you cannot get any other way. But over here, if you have 3 of the same type, you get 10% attack and 10% HP. Ideally, you should go for this one in the middle here, the 3 of one type, 2 of another, but no demons. That's going to give you 15 and 15. And then a lot of times, I like to personally, I've been a big fan of the fairy characters. You can go 20% attack and 20% HP by getting 4 of the same type, but a lot of times I'm doing either the 3 of the same type with 2 of another. You get that 15%, the good hedging of the bets there. And also, you really want to look on the right side on what type of characters they have over there. So I have a lot of fairies. You could click on this little eye button right there. You can see my tap. That's going to show you the kind of circle there. I use this a ton, especially in the first couple days I was playing it, just to kind of remind myself of the rock, paper, scissors of this game. And now I kind of got it down, but you want to look on the enemy team on the right and have this here. And so then what's cool about this game is it does a really good job of allowing you to use your characters and having the team comp be the strength versus needing to get a whole bunch of copies of the character early and whatever. And so how you can do that is you have this level sync system. This is very typical in these kind of AFK summoning games. You only want to level 5 characters here. So see these 5, these are the ones I've leveled, And then what you could do on the left side here, so right side is the ones you actually physically level, and then the ones on the left, there's slots here that you unlock with this currency at the top right. Be very careful and make sure you have enough of that currency, because like for example here I need 1100 and I have 449, but I have 720 of this other currency here. Make sure you're not using the currency on the right. This is the one for pulls. This is the really valuable currency you should just stack up. You should have a ton of it like as you're playing the game, and if you do it correctly and you only spend summons with the tickets you get, you could have like 10k 15k of this currency saved up for when a good rate up banner comes through later down the line. I think it caps out at a certain amount, like in the 20 to 30k range, but that's what you're going to want to be doing when it comes to the Eversoul stuff. And then here you could end up spending it. So notice how I need 651 leaves of life. Would you like to spend 800 Everstones to open a slot? No, you don't want to do that. You could. This is a really useful mechanic in the game, and I can understand in the beginning maybe unlocking a few of them or whatever if you have other characters, but for the most part you want to stay away from ever spending this currency on that. Just wait until you progress through the campaign to get more of these. Also, you get it here. I think this is probably a good segue. If you want the auto currency, that how these games work, there's always kind of this auto battler thing that's going to give you the currency you want. You hit Battlefront and you hit the chest here, and that's where you get all this. Notice how I have leaves of life waiting for me, and then the two big currencies here are going to be gold and mana dust. These are the two currencies that allow you to level up characters. You get it from here. This is when you hit certain milestones in the mana crystal to level up certain thresholds. Like for example, going from level 100 to 101, you're going to need these, but there's other milestones along the way that you're going to need mana stones for. And so these are all very important currencies to be able to level up your characters. Probably gold more so than most, because you need gold for other things like leveling up your gear. But in this game, weirdly, I've never seen a game do this where gear is very hard to come by, and they call it keepsakes in this game. Notice how I only have one level 5 piece here. This is very difficult to level, so really all you want to care about is just equipping your characters you're using with the gear, but don't worry about leveling it until way down the line, because it's going to be a while. There was a pack I could have bought earlier that was like a limited time FOMO pack that gave me 2 of like the legendary ones, but I've seen they even have a higher level, so I'm just going to wait. And then I've noticed that as I've progressed through the campaign in the auto loot, you'll get gear through here, and then I've seen as I've gone up higher, the gear gets better. So keep that in mind. I would just wait for better gear as you're leveling up characters. For example, notice how the top 5 here are the ones that are actually leveled here. So like I'll take her up to 100, but notice how now from 99 I didn't have this blue currency, this mana crystal. Now to go from 100 to 101, I need to use that currency as well. So that's why that currency is so important there. Keep in mind too when we go to skills. So as you level up skills, that's why they have that currency as the level. It's the big gate there, because it's a big deal to take one of those bigger jumps in leveling, because that's going to give you a higher modifier to your skills. So notice how going from 100 to 101, that's what leveled me up for the ultimate here, to go from level 1 to level 2. But as you can see, I need to be level 181, so that's going to be the one that uses that blue currency to be able to get from doing damage of 240% to 260%. Same thing here, going from 150 to 160%, but that's going to be at level 121. And then you got 141, 161, 181, and then 201. So it's like a progression in that system there. So I think it kind of explains that. I think one of the things you really want to focus on if you're trying to figure out what to do in the game, you always want to click this button here on the top kind of rightish area. You're going to notice that there's multiple things here. There's the event calendar that lets you know what's going to be happening in the future. It goes out about 6 days. Then you have this daily attendance thing. This is going to get you Everstones day 1, going to give you a 10 pull day 2. These crates give you gear, so that's pretty helpful there. These are artifact summons. We'll talk about that here in a second. You have Everstones again, and then the big thing on day 7, you get a Mephistopheles guaranteed. When you see 60 of a character, you know that's a guaranteed. Then you have this launch day celebration. This is another good thing too. You just sign in, get rewards. Day 7, you get a 10 pull. Week 2, you get another 10 pull, but it's a specific type rate up. And then on the boot camp here, this is really good. Just do the things, 5 pull, 5 pull, another 5 pull, and then another 5 pull there. It looks like it's 5 pulls all the way through. And you can also kind of get an idea of what you can do later, but there's more down the line that I can't scroll down when it's not that day. So that is why, I guess I'm on day 4. I thought I was on day 6, but looks, oh, I'm on day 5, I guess. So those are the events. You want to also click the recommended tasks. This is something that's really important to follow. These recommendations are awesome, and you get good rewards here. This is all stuff you want to be doing in this game, and it also kind of clues you in on all the different types of content, because there's a lot of different stages here, or a lot of different versions of content to be doing. And then at the end of it, you get a 5 pull. Here you get a 10 pull, another 10 pull, and then I'm on recommendation 4. And at the end, I would get a 20 pull of like a specific soul, like the type ones, the green ones here. So a lot of these are just time gated based on the day and stuff like that. So then next place that I think is really important to talk about is the adventure. You have multiple things here. You have the gate breakthrough. Keep in mind the ones on the right. So the unlimited gate is always open, but then the ones on the right here, starting with human-like gate and all the way down to the undead gate, they start at 8:35. You can't even touch these until 8:35 on the normal campaign. So keep that in mind. Don't worry about that just yet, but it's pretty self-explanatory. You need to have the right characters for that to work. Like this fairy gate here, you need fairy characters, and you push through there. Whereas the unlimited gate, doesn't matter what characters, and it doesn't matter what time, you just can push until you can't anymore, and then you get that really important blue currency here in the mana crystal, and then you also get other stuff like gold, which is really important, and so on and so forth, such as Everstones and whatever. So very important thing to be doing, as if you feel stuck in one thing, go here. Then we have dungeons, Dimensional Labyrinth. These are things that are like a weekly thing. And then we have Hall of Memories. This is another thing that's weekly. Notice how I have 100% all done, but then next week will be Forgotten Ruins, and then 2 weeks it'll be Arcanine Palace. So then Arena, this is something to do daily here, and keep this in mind. Really important currency to get from Arena, really important currency to get from these Dimensional Labyrinths. How you can use that currency is going to be in the shop. So you have the general shop here, but then you also have the cover release shop in a second, but I want to kind of segue in. So you have the Labyrinth shop, that's where you get this currency, and then it's really important because that's how you get that angel character in Adrienne. Very good character, worth getting. And then also in the Arena shop, this is how you can get a Yame, and with this currency here. These are like month-long farms, but that's how you get them through those game modes there that are like time-gated based on week, and then eventually you'll have enough currency to buy them. And that's pretty much the only no-brainer thing worth getting there, even though it's a super long grind. But just keep in mind, you're going to be needing to play the game a while to be able to get them, or just get super lucky in the polls to be able to get them. Release shop, this is something to keep in mind, because as you're getting characters, notice how there's like uncommon, rare, and epics. What you can do here is release souls, and then see how I have auto release common grade. That is something that eventually is going to turn into enough currency in the shop here to go in the release shop, and then you just literally get a guaranteed epic for doing this. And so, you know what, actually perfect, I have enough. Okay, so I got another one here. So through the release shop, boom, in the bag, and then I have 60, boom, I just do this random epic, and I just got a Jade, which is sick because I haven't got a duplicate of her at all. She was actually the character I chose in the beginning to get, so I think that's really cool. You're able to just do that right there. For you pull enough characters, they're not the good ones, they just get auto released, there's no point of them, they're not food, then eventually you get a guaranteed epic out of it. So I think that's really cool. The town I think is very important. Don't neglect this. This is just more passive rewards. I always think these things are so tedious and so annoying in these games, but you go to the town, and basically what you do is you want to hit the takeout button, deploy all these things, and when they deploy, they have certain effects attached to them. So like the fountain here, you get 1% gold. Here, no special effects, but it levels up your town really high. Like 120 is really big. Notice how this only has 30. And then here you have no special effects here, no special effects. You get part-time jobs when you have certain things, so you get more part-time jobs to send out. Those are passive things that, you know, they're like bounties or expeditions or whatever. So you can auto deploy them. So notice I have a ton of them here. It's because I have enough buildings that do that. So you can come here. So notice how I have all these buildings here. This is that 1%. You can also deploy characters here. Notice I have her deployed here, and it's giving her 3% attack. That's another thing that's really important. And then notice how all these buildings here. So then as you level up, you're going to get better and better buildings, and you can actually make it not look terrible. But I think it's cool that they have this. These are just things I don't care about, but it's more upgrades for you. That's what matters. It's just me personally, I don't like it. So I just auto do it. Boom, they go out, and now eventually I'll get all this stuff back when they're finished. So that's how that works. And then they have noticed all the times there. So the epic 6 hours, 1.5 hours, stuff like that. But based on the time, the better the reward. Also, a really important thing to do is to visit towns. I believe you get 3 days. You can see in the bottom here, number of expeditions 3. You go there, you get friend points, and then you can also get pulls from this, which is very good. So keep that in mind. I don't know the specifics on how many pulls you can get, but it's important to be doing because you can get a lot there. And then soul rest. This is what happens when you send them on enough expeditions. They get tired. You put them here, wait some time, and then they can actually do expeditions again for you, or the part-time jobs again for you. So here, let's back out of here for that. I'm trying to think if there's any other things worth discussing. So each character, all their skills, you have the top, this is their main skill that they'd use, but not the ultimate. You'll have an ultimate bar at the bottom charging, but you can only have one character using it at a time. If you use an ult, that uses the ult for everyone, and then you have to rebuild that ultimate. So just keep that in mind, that not everyone gets to use their ultimate. So when you're building your team, if you have two characters competing for the ultimate slot, reconsider potentially, or know that when you go in, you're only going to have one character using that particular ult for that one time. You can always change it up. So if I go into a battle here, I like to have Naya, the fourth from the left here, go with her ult because she does an AoE sleep. But I have that plant, and so you could hit this button, this cogwheel, and it's automatic, and it just does an order here. I don't understand why it has an order here. I think it's kind of bizarre because the only time someone else would go is if someone else is dead. But mainly, it's not like, I thought it was going to be like a countdown where it'd be like, okay, Naya goes, and then she goes. But you could just have Naya go over and over and over again, for example. Or you can have like Vivienne go over and over and over again if you want to. Or you could just turn it off and just wait and then hit the button, because you have, this is the main move that you see at the top of the skills. When they flip like that, they're using that. That's all main moves. The one on the right that's grayed out right now, that is their ultimate. So I just hit that, and then boom, she just, see, notice AoE sleep. We just did that. So that is how that works there when it comes to this skill. So I don't know if that's a win or a loss, but I just want to keep moving when it comes to this kind of tutorial here. Lastly, I do want to show friends are a big deal, because what you can do is you get higher souls, and then notice I have 5 of these hired. I wish I had friends that wailed out harder, because right here I only have, you know, a little bit higher than me, but you could use these every day. So notice how it's 13 hours and 34 minutes left before refresh. You could do this every day. So 10 is hard, 15 is hard. Notice how they have these treasure chests, 20. So you get 5 a day. So if you have a big whale friend, save these every 5 stages if you get there, and then you could get a ton more progression by doing that. A very important tip to be using that. So we got the Eden boot camp. It looks like I have finished 20 part-time jobs, received that. That's a little bit more gear, as I was saying earlier. And then boom, we just got another 10 pulls. So we just finished that out later. And then also the final reward is going to be a Seahawk. So I think that's definitely worth doing. This is just a no-brainer thing. The Eden boot camp is awesome. Okay, so Zodiacs are a big deal here. This is going to be a breakdown thing, but these are just going to be passive stats. How you actually gain more Zodiacs is going to be through leveling your actual account. So I get more because I'm level 48. If you get higher level, you're going to get more of those as you progress. For example, be sure to read these. I like the ones that give you better stats. So I have the one that attains idle gold, 30% more idle gold. Gold's probably the most important resource that you can get. And then Ares here gives you more idle mana crystal loot. I think if I were to do this again, I would do the more idle, it'd be this, mana dust. If there's more idle mana dust, I'd probably do that. But I haven't looked at each one. There is an infographic on Clint's channel that breaks that down. Yeah, mana dust loot, 20%. So cancer is probably the one I would have done instead. Then do that one and get all those things rolling for me, and then do actual combat stats for my team or for the general, all my characters. But keep that in mind. Then we have artifacts here. These happen, I believe, after 410, stage 410. Then you can start to actually summon for these. But what they are is, it's better to look into in the artifact section, because you can actually see what they do. So here's a character, I use her a lot. So here's what it does. When you equip it, it's giving you all these stats. So attack, HP, crit rate, crit damage. And then you also have all these additional things here, but additional damage changes to, so you get an extra move, this artifact skill. Star Day's arrival day damage equals to 50% of attack is added. So Star Day's arrival is this move, setting 50% added to this. And then as you actually scale this character up, you're going to be getting more and more percentages of that there. And then that's going to change for every single character. There's only one for each character. I don't think there's multiple types, but as you pull more copies, that's how you can start to enhance it more and more often. And then there's going to be this enhancing material here that you can use. So notice I have 240 of this. I can enhance this up. I'm not going to touch that, even though this is one of my main characters I use. I might use this for someone else. I'm not sure. I didn't know I had this much, and I think I got it from this here, Adventure, when I finally started doing this. I believe it was all from here, but I'm not sure. This is the only new thing I've done recently, and there's very good rewards here when it comes to your actual keepsakes, and apparently that material there. Okay, but that is how that works. And then how summoning for it is actually kind of interesting. What you want to do is you want to go down here to summon, artifact summon, and then before you actually summon here, you want to go to the wish list and pick the ones you don't have for the main characters that you actually want to use them for. And it really increases the odds here. You're pretty much guaranteed to be getting it. And once you pull it once, you have it, and then as you pull more of that same one, it gets like 10 out of 100, and you can finally start to level it. So you want to really dial in on the characters you actually want to really use a ton, because there's a lot of passive stats here, super useful for you. And based on the stats it's adding, probably better on your damage dealer than on your support, is my guess. Now that we have Zodiacs, Artifacts, Archive, this is just going to be main story. Really important to do main story because you get a ton of pulls for doing it. As you can see here, this is kind of like a little short burst of pulls to do. And then love story, this is something I haven't touched at all, but this is the whole chat thing, and you actually like take these people on a date or something, I don't know. And then I think that is going to do it for this video here. If there's any other questions you guys have, please let me know in the comments below. And with that, guys, I am out of here. Peace.